Convention launched its election manifesto in Mningisi near Giyani in Limpopo today. The APC President Themba Godi reaffirmed the party's socialist ideals. He called for a new constitution that, he says, would place South Africa in the hands of its people. For more on that story, we cross to our reporter there, Phillip Van Der Walt. Phillip, good evening to you. What are the main points of Gordy's manifesto? What is he actually calling for?
Gordy have been saying a lot of things today. The main point that he was driving is that it's a socialist party and they strive for socialist ideals and they will implement socialist principles, and it's based on the thoughts and the ideas of Marx and Lenin. He made a very strong point that everything will be approached from a socialist point of view. That includes the economy, which I will get back to within a minute. It also includes education, health, water, Eskom, oil and gas, labour brokering, outsourcing services, farms, mining, national service, and land nationalisation, and also the constitution and abolished provinces. Let's just look at the economy part of it for a moment. He says state intervention in the economy will be through regulations, total ownership, heavily involved. The state will be heavily involved in mining, agriculture, banks, manufacturing, communication, etc. The distinguishing feature of the system will be the role and position of workers in these enterprises in terms of shares, management and production. The APC is a party committed to socialism, whose theoretical foundation and principles are to be found in Marxism, Leninism. He also said that he wants to create a state bank, nationalize the Reserve Bank and liberate the National Treasury. Let us just look at some of the other points. On education, he said it has to have a socialist foundation. Health, he said, at the moment it's in shambles and it's open to corruption, and there are many examples of countries, socialist countries, where health care has worked in a different way on the socialist thought. Water must be nationalized. Eskom must be maintained as the country's largest producer of electricity. Oil and gas may not no private companies are allowed to explore for oil and gas unless the state has got 30% shares in those companies. Labour brokering is wrong. Services will not be outsourced unless they are highly specialised and only for very short periods. On farms, he said that every person will be allowed to only have one farm unless it's cooperatives where they will be allowed to have more than one farms. And he's going to nationalise land, and then he's going to socialise it by giving it to the people. He's going to abolish provinces because provinces the middle tier of government is not necessary. It's costing a lot of money, billions, and it's also open to an extra layer of bureaucracy and unnecessary layer of bureaucracy and corruption and whatever goes with it. He will only have a national government and then the provinces, then the municipalities.
Phillip, if I can just come in there. Themba Godi, I think most people know him as the chairman of Parliament's Standing Committee on Public Accounts. How many members made it to his launch today? How big was his event?
The event was not very big, but Themba is a person who's always believed in operating on grassroots level. He loves to go to villages, he loves to speak to small groups of people and interact with them in a more personal way. He's been doing that for the past couple of days in the northern parts of Limpopo, also where today's launch was taking place. He says that he's the only party that's launching his manifesto in a rural area, and I would imagine that only a few hundred of supporters did turn up at the launch today. It was not big stadiums, it was not big metropoles, and it was not big stages, and that's the style that Themba Godi prefers.
Phillip Van Der Walt, our reporter there, thank you very much indeed.